I get tired of talking myself. Why do I keep doing it? Because it's a race to the end. The finish line it's coming up real soon. Where all groups, all people, all ulterior motives, where everything, you see those eyes? It's the same as the eyes when you look at the landscape from above and you look down at the William Penn building. On the east side, there's those two eyeballs, and then along with those two eyeballs, there's the pink things that are underneath it's like a shield glass stairs that go down. And then when you look at the bushes, it's a sheep getting eaten by something, and then the other one is an angel like falling backwards. Who made the money? Well, wouldn't that be Satan? Wouldn't Satan be the one that made the money, the one that prints the money, the one that controls people with the money? How do you know what's on the money, the artwork? What's on it? So towards the end, of course there's tricks being played. There's still an enemy. The enemy is still inside of people's brains. So whoever the enemy is, well, there may be an enemy on earth, a person. But truly, even if there's an enemy in human form, the true enemy is inside of your head, because that enemy will still be telling you about. How can you tell if somebody changed? How do you know somebody changed from being from one extreme to the other? How can you truly tell? See, lip service, you can get that. It sounds good. But ultimately, who's in charge of the money? And why is it that, like, what's with the poor? What's with this? What's with this whole system? Whoever's in charge wants people to be their slaves. They don't want to let them go. Even if you let the slaves go, you still have your life. You're still going to be able to live your life when you're in charge of the planet, or you're in charge of the system itself. I wouldn't say in charge of the planet per se, because it's not just one person in charge of the planet, but there are mouthpieces that are at the head of an organization that has a lot of say in how things are ran. So there's a chase for the money, like the bank. I heard something about a bank. There's always been something going on about that bank. Chase Bank. There's bombings printed on money. There's future bombings that haven't happened yet. There's a Twin Tower burning bomb. But the tower itself is burnt at the tip. It's one side and then it's the other side. And one side says you need to be converted. Only recently, within the past 6 months, have I heard the word inverted. Inverted and converted. It seems like it's two completely different things. Like being inverted is turning something inside out, up, side down. And then converted is being converted, changed. No direction except for the opposite from what you were. So if you were down, then yeah, getting inverted, getting converted would be going up, which would be the exact opposite. But how I see this thing is, one group says get inverted in order to go back to heaven. There's nothing you can do to go to heaven unless you were literally coming from the land. You're going back up. It's the end of the ages. The ages. All of it. The enemy in the world would want you to believe that, no, it's just a reset. Well, that's true too. Because the thing is, the enemy speaks truth. It is true. It is a reset. What kind of reset? For who? Who's getting reset? Well, you either need to be up or down. If you're down, Debbie Downer, and someone's just trying to, they're just looking out for you, they're just trying to give you a tip, and you're a downer, and you're told you got to be an upper in order to be converted, in order to change your ways, in order to, there is zero that you have to do to alter yourself, your body. This isn't about changing your body, physical body. The interpretation of the Bible, if anybody's talking about getting changed, converted, inverted, outverted, upverted, whatever verted, has zero to do with your flesh. Because no matter what, Satan runs your flesh. Whether you have a birdie or you don't have a birdie. Whether you invert your birdie or you only have a tip of it. It means nothing. It's about circumcision of your heart, not your Peter. You don't alter your Peter. It has zero to do with it. But that's the way the system is. So if you don't take heed to the warning, you're going to be left behind. You're going to get burnt. You are the fuel for the fire that this earth was reserved for. Even though that also has nothing to do with literal fire at all. It's the word of God. You're getting burnt because the truth is burning the lie. Once it's revealed what the truth is, and there's multiple people that have the eyes to see and ears to hear, and you're still trying to go against each other, it doesn't work out either. Because there's a straight separation. You need to do this or else that, not going to happen. You know, the wicked, they're not going to understand. They're going to continue on. But to call people wicked because they can't see something that you see, nah, that's not the way it works. You don't call people wicked because they can't see what you're saying, because that's more of a force. Like, this is how you test spirits. If you hear the words that sound like frustrated out of people not believing you, and then you cast judgment on it, well, that's not the right way to go. So that's not the right spirit. Obviously, that's not Christ. That's not the Christ spirit inside of you. At least at that moment. Doesn't always mean that people don't actually have the Christ spirit because they're frustrated at people that just can't see or believe it. But at this time now, if you have the Christ spirit, you should have developed a tremendous amount of patience with people. And if they don't believe what you're saying and they don't see, Like if you're trying to show them an image and they can't see what you're saying it is, it's not that they're wicked, which is casting judgment on somebody. It's just they can't see it. But when you try to when the God you worship is the God of forces, but then you force that you want them to believe you so bad that you'll force fear on them in order to get them to believe that something's going to happen to them, when the reality is the only reason why you're pushing fear is because something's going to happen to you. I'm not picking either side of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I'm not getting inverted or outverted. I'm picking the tree of life, the one that continually gives eternal life. Whatever's offered over here, offered over there, in order to do that thing or that thing, no thanks. I'll live my life. If I have to live a life as a homeless bum and be by myself, well then I guess that's just the way it needs to be. It'll probably be more peaceful, to be honest with you. You just have to, I've learned how to lose everything and just accept it and then start over from scratch. There's nothing somebody can offer me to say, oh, all right, yeah, I'll do that. I gotta get, that's the only way I can go to heaven? Well, I'll stay here in hell and I'll burn and die here in hell with the fear that has been being pushed, because this has nothing to do with being circumcised of any portion of your flesh. It's the heart. The Sodom and Gomorrah tree of knowledge of good and evil, yeah, you still have the spark of life. It's just concealed. Why? I think because maybe some people are going around with axes, and when you don't see anything, there's nothing you can chop down. Because the Second Amendment is being infringed upon, or it's getting ready to, or the fear, or the what's being pushed is getting rid of your guns. Getting rid of your guns. Your guns that shoot. They shoot and they can kill. So Satan eats babies. How do you eat babies? Well, if you don't have a gun, how are you going to get food? How do you get food without a gun if you're starving to death? How does Satan get his food? Do you think Satan doesn't have the ability to spark any life into this existence? My stance is this. I don't care what you do with what's between your legs. You can keep that to yourself. You can keep that to your girlfriend, your boyfriend. If you're a guy, you can keep it with your boyfriend. If you're a girl, you can keep that with your girlfriend. If you're a guy, you can keep it with your girl. If you choose that direction of your sexuality, that's who you are. I don't force anybody to stop or to do anything. You're going to do things on your own. If the Christ Spirit is inside of you, it'll convict you of what you should or shouldn't be doing anymore. And if nothing convicts you of anything, it's just, and you go all the way to your death, then you die in your sin, and that's it. I mean, your soul goes back to God, and however that works, I don't know. Never died before, not that I remember. I don't remember coming into this world. I don't remember asking to be born, but I'm here living my life. Free will. Even though we're in a prison, even though we're in a pit, we're in hell, and we don't have many options, but I'm still choosing my free will. Doesn't matter what's offered. If it doesn't feel right, and it's something that you got to alter yourself, nah. And then, so that's for one group, which is the one eye, the all-seeing eye on the back of a dollar bill, the pyramid. There's the group that still has the eye to see, and then there's the other group that did away with it altogether. This is the system, the male, female. God created man and women. Remember, that vision fails. It just fails. It fails. Because God created man and woman separately. Separately. He created men that are men. And then he created women that are just women. And then he created men that have the feminine spirit inside of them, and they act on it, and then they go in that direction. Vice versa with the women. Then he created men that have the feminine spirit, and men that have or women that have the manly spirit. But it's just a combination of both, where they can do the same things, but it has nothing to do with your sexual orientation. So that's all I'm interpreting is, what is the perversion behind the words that are being said, and the fear that's being pushed on people, and the trying to divide and pull from this side over to here when this side's pulling, that side's pulling. It's a tug of war between the truth. Who wants to try to get the truth and then alter it, change it? Come eat the portion of the king's meat. Nah, I'm good. Nah, no thanks. I'll suffer the consequences of whatever, and then when it's all said and done, I'll watch my spirit take control of the people that are already in charge. I don't need to be in charge. That's the thing. People think that like there's a seat, and you need to get into that seat and then be known and shown and paraded around and all that stuff. You don't need to be seen at all. All you need to see is how the world is changing because of your spirit. Who is Satan? Well, Satan is supposed to be... So what happened? Satan entered into Judas, right? Entered into Judas. Judas also repented at the end because he felt bad, which means he repented. He threw the money back and hung up his career. If you read it literally, he went and hung himself. The field of blood, his guts just poured out. Yeah, because when you feel so horrible for betraying Christ, and then you realize it, and you realize that they don't even want your money back that you're trying to give back, that they gave you to betray Christ. So you feel terrible at the end, and you spill your guts out, which is the truth, and then you hang up your career. Christ was giving Peter the keys to the kingdom. Of course there's going to be Peters being played. There's even 1 Peter and 2 Peter. Why is there 1st and 2nd? Why is there 1 John, 2 John, 3 John? Why is there... It's like there's the first one and then the second one. Because 1 Peter was probably the Peter that was saying that John the Baptist was Christ. Like maybe even thinking that. And then the 2nd Peter could have been John the Baptist himself proclaiming the real Christ. So it's like the 1 Peter, because that's what they believe and that's what it was. It's just the way the pattern goes. You believe you're somebody until that person shows up, and then it's like, oh, well, you're that person. I'm the other person that does that. Whatever person you are, just take your place. Take your place. If you know you're somebody else and you're acting as someone, and that's not who you are, just step aside and sit down. Like Let everybody who you know who is who be who they are. It's all about stealing the birthright. Let's steal the birthright. Let's take away the spark of life from that person, so they can't have, that way they don't have the ability to give birth. They don't have the ability to give birth through the seed. Here's the bottom line to all of it.